Hi, and thanks for checking out 612 Planting. 17 years ago, my wife and I left Indiana en route to California to plant Impact Community Church. We grew from 6 people in our living room to the highest monthly average of 1,000. We saw 844 baptisms, which is one a week since we got there. We significantly helped launch 3 other churches in California, as well as a small part of several other California churches. And we've planted about 1,000 churches around the world, and even dug a water well and built a building in Nigeria that was used as a church, medical clinic, and school. But now we're excited to be starting a brand new work called 612 Planting. Now, as an entrepreneur and a church planter at heart, I'm kind of a pastorpreneur. So knowing that church planting is statistically the #1 way to reach more people for Christ, and knowing that almost 4,000 churches close every year, and typically less than 4,000 start every year, and the population keeps growing, and knowing that the local church is the hope of the world, it's God's plan A and there is no plan B, there were 2 strategies I wanted to accomplish. Get American church plants to be self-sustaining in 6 to 12 months, and get them to multiply instead of add. So after tons of research and coaching and praying and counseling and workshops and conferences, we're embracing our new role with 612planting.com. There are currently 2 main avenues of church planting that we're engaging. First of all, we'll help get churches launched in places where few church planting organizations would dare to go. Places where it's not sustainable to have a church plant, a full-time vocational pastor leading it. Maybe it's a small town in a poor area of the country, or maybe an inner city or an urban community where even 200 people couldn't sustain the church and its pastor. So we'll come alongside in a sort of franchise model of consulting to work with the pastor who has a clear called people group, a city he wants to reach, and we'll help him launch a discount grocery store where prices are about the half of what Walmart has. The planter will build relationships with his customers while meeting needs physically with groceries and spiritually with prayer. Wasn't it Bessie that had surgery last week? I prayed for her. Then those relationships are turned into whatever church God has put on the planter's heart. The beauty is the planter's salary is covered in less than 6 to 12 months with the grocery store. And then the church, once it's formed and people are tithing, once it's enough to cover all or part of the pastor's salary, he can begin to move from a grocer to a pastor. But he's doing ministry from day one with the people of the community that he's called to reach. It's also a great way for an existing church to start a huge ministry to help the less fortunate in their community, and there's another video explaining that. That's one side of 612 Planting, to plant churches that are bivocational and self-sustaining in 6 to 12 months in areas where planting doesn't make sense. We hope to launch 2 grocery stores in 2017. The other side of 612 Planting involves a movement of simple churches, house churches, or missional communities full of disciples who make disciples, creating a multiplying movement of churches instead of an addition of churches. To accomplish this, we're starting with the internet in a community called YOUCHOOSE.COMMUNITY. Should be live in November, where you choose when, where, how, and with whom you do church, you do ministry, you do life. And it's on this website that we'll try to gather a large community of followers who will receive 2 to 4 minute mini messages from the Bible that are funny or sarcastic, controversial, engaging, or otherwise, hopefully, culturally interesting in order to generate more followers and likes and interactions and subscribers and basically a loyal community. Once they're connected, we encourage them to go deeper and choose one of 2 tracks on the website, to choose Jesus, learning about salvation, and to choose discipleship, learning about being a disciple who makes a disciple. These videos will be a little longer, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and have a little more meat to them, with the ultimate goal of the whole website, getting these followers online to launch their own simple churches under our direction and our empowerment, where the mission is simply to love God, love others, and make disciples who make disciples. And we'll engage with this mentality that every believer is a church planter. It's just a matter of time. Every time someone accepts Christ, we want them to hear about the greatest blessing. Saying it's a blessing that you accepted Christ. It's a great blessing when you share Christ with someone else and they say yes to Jesus. It's an even greater blessing when you launch a simple church with those that you're influencing. And it's the grand poobah greatest blessing when you help others launch simple churches as well, and you're essentially starting a network of churches. And what this does is instill in every new believer that they play a significant role in the multiplication movement, and that we're expecting them and counting on them to jump in and be a disciple who makes a disciple. and to help us accomplish YouChoose's vision to launch a simple church movement of 20 churches in the next 2 years. That's the second aspect of 612 Planting, that these simple churches will be launching new simple churches every 6 to 12 months, hopefully every 4 months. Now, as of January 1st, 2017, I'm a full-time missionary raising all my outside salary, benefits, and ministry expenses, and I need to raise the majority of our budget for the first 2 years of our ministry. Now, the church that I planted is backing us with some startup funds and monthly giving over the next couple of years, and for that, we're super grateful. But the shortfall is about $400,000 over the next 2 years. So we're hoping to enlist a small army of people to help us get this going. Through prayer support on Facebook at bit.do/YouChoose, and through financial support on this website, or you can even text to give at the number on the screen. You can email me at barry@612planting.com, and you can call me at 916-750-5453, or reach me at facebook.com/barryonline. Thank you for taking time to watch and learn more. It's a work in progress for sure, but I can't wait to see how God pulls it all together and uses it to grow heaven bigger and hell smaller. Thank you, and God bless.